Hello, good morning. Good morning. I'm Teresa Coates. It is Make with Teresa Coates, and today we are talking all about the quarter millennial quilt and the sew along that we're doing with it. So I'm really excited that you are here with me, and if you are participating already, that's wonderful. I'm super excited. We have well over 1,000 people now who've signed up for it. So it's been really fun to get this going and see people and see what people are making. We released 3 blocks last week, so I've already been able to see some that are starting to go, and that's been really fun. So today we're going to talk all about the quilt, the sew along, answer a bunch of questions. We've gotten a lot of the same questions over and over, so we're going to try to answer those. And then if you have questions, this is the time to do it. So Hawk is behind the scenes. Come over and wave. You're going to stick a thumb up. Okay. So Hawk is behind the scenes.
Hi, good morning,
there
everybody.
He is.
Hi.
And so he can put up new questions. My daughter is also Audrey. She's behind the scenes and putting up some of the other questions. We'll take care of some things, behind the scenes. So if you have questions, please do post them, put them in the comments, and then Hawk can ask me and we'll get those questions answered for you. So just a little bit of background on what this is. So the quarter millennial quilt is the 250th anniversary of America. And I wanted to do something for it for a while. I've wanted to make an America quilt for a while. And this was kind of the impetus, it's a good reason to make an America quilt. It's the 250th anniversary. So I've been actually collecting fabrics for a long time to make this quilt that just was kind of imaginary in my mind. I didn't know what quilt I was going to do. For a while, I wanted to do the 1876 Centennial quilt, which is a beautiful quilt. And then it just never quite grabbed me. Oops. So I just never really got into it like you want to with the quilt project. So it kind of has just sat around, and I have a couple of bins of fabric that I've collected. And so this was the time to do it. And the background a little bit is that I have been traveling and teaching for the last about 10 years that I've been traveling. So I have gotten to all of the states except for Alaska and Hawaii. And we're doing those last. So I'm thinking that maybe by June, I'll be able to plant my foot in at least one of those. But I've traveled to all of them, and I've gotten to see quilt shops all over the place and meet people all over the place and just see a whole bunch of different kinds of lives. And that's been really impactful for me in just, appreciating the country as a whole and its people. So I've wanted to do something. And along the way, we did a tour in 2021. We did a tour. We spent a year living on the road in an RV, working with Shannon Fabrics, and I did a tour of quilt shops. We did a tour of quilt shops, and along the way, I just purchased fat quarters everywhere I went. So I have quite a stash of fat quarters that I have bought at numerous different quilt shops. I have no idea where any of them came from anymore because I didn't mark them at all, but I know that they're from quilt shops across the country, and that makes me really happy. So I've kind of gathered this desire to want to do a quilt, and then just my love for the country and its people. I really wanted to do something. So this has kind of been hatching in my brain for a while. And then when I saw that nobody else was doing a centennial or a quarter millennial quilt, then I was like, I guess we're going to do it. So put it out there, and you guys have joined me, and I'm super excited about it. So just the basics of it, we'll go over that, and then we can take questions. Is that cool? So the basics of it is that we've released the pattern. So the patterns will go every week. You'll get new patterns. You'll get 2 or 3 new patterns. Most of the time, 2. Last week was 3. This next week is 2. Next week is 3. But then a lot of them is just 2 after that. So we wanted to kind of push a few of them together at the beginning to do more each week, mostly because it's going to get further and further along, and when you don't want to get behind, I guess, is part of it. And they're also really small at this point, which is another thing we'll deal with. So the quilt is actually put together. It's kind of a different sort of quilt, and it is put together in different size blocks. So it is not a block of the month where you're going to make 12 blocks that are all 16 by 16. You're going to make blocks that are 2 by 2 up to 16 by 16. And in the middle of that, you're going to make blocks that are 8 by 10 and 6 by 8 and 10 by 10 and 12 by 12. So there's all of these different sizes in there. One of the big things that people have been asking is, why do we care about the sizes? What's the difference between, why can't we have just all the same block? And hold on just a second. I need to get my phone to turn off. But the reason they're different sizes is because the states are different sizes. And that's also why we're starting with the small ones, is because those beginning 13 colonies are actually really small little states. So they have started with the small little blocks, and then we'll go from there. So that's how the patterns are going to be released, is every week you get patterns in the order that they were ratified or joined the union. So I did talk with one of the ladies from the Dream Team last night, Angela. She was telling me that she had found that the order, I didn't tell you about this, Hawk, but the order of New Jersey and Pennsylvania is sometimes argued. And I think it's a really interesting thing. So some places will say that it's New Jersey is the second, and some places will say that Pennsylvania is the second state. You know what? They all came in 78 is when they happened, 1787. So we're calling it good the way it is. So they'll continue to roll out in the way that they have joined the union. So at the very end, we've got Alaska and Hawaii, and Hawaii is a tiny little block again, as you can imagine, and Alaska is going to be our biggest one. So that one is 16 by 16. So that's a nice big block, and that one will be it'll be a fun one to design. There are some of the state blocks, excuse me, they are based on like traditional blocks sometimes, and then sometimes they are not. So why don't we show the blocks that we've done so far, the 3 that we've done so far, and then I can kind of explain just a little bit from there. Does that make sense?
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll do top down. Okay, so this is, for instance, so there's my coffee. Let me move that out of screen. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay, so this is the Delaware block. This is what we did. This is a little paper pieced block, and it was the first one that we released because it's the first state. It's a 2 by 2, so it finishes here at 2.5. It will finish in your quilt at 2 by 2. So those numbers are kind of flip flop around. So know that when I say that it's going to be a 2 by 2 block, it's actually going to finish when you're piecing it at 2.5 by 2.5. Okay, so this is a little paper pieced block. Let me see if I can have the pattern. So the patterns come like this. There'll be 1 or 2 pages each, and you'll get a pattern page that shows a line drawing of the block, what it's going to look like, some color variations so you can decide where you want to put your lights and darks, because that will change what your quilt block looks like. I mean, you can see all of these look very different depending on where you put your darks. And I think that that's really interesting. So I will have put one in here that I have made. So like this is the one that I did. Okay, so each time I'll make one that's like mine, but you don't have to do it that way. You could absolutely choose red. You could do red and blue. You could do purple and pink. I don't care. So we can talk about that more later. It doesn't matter what colors you use. I'm just putting colors in here to give you a reference on what it could look like if you put certain shades of fabric in there. Okay, so you'll get a pattern that has the line drawing, some information or some examples, and then information about the state, what kind of block it is, and then instructions on how to do it. So these are the little patterns for the Delaware block, and they were tiny. So we did that one, and then we did Pennsylvania. So that one was a traditional block. So that one is the Delaware block. So if you look it up, this is the Delaware block. The Pennsylvania block is actually a square block. So this one, because it is a different shape, it is 6 by 8 is what this one is. So this one, I had to squish it. So normally this would be an 8 by 8 block, and I squished it to 6 by 8. So it's a little bit of a different, it's just a variation on the Pennsylvania block, which is also, I found out, called the honeymoon block sometimes. So if you're kind of new to quilting, you'll see that blocks often have more than one name, and that's always fascinating. So I've been doing them a couple of different times just to see what they look like. We had one person who did it with blue in the middle and then red coming out. We had somebody who did red and blue for that one as well.
I really liked the Delaware block that had the red center.
The red center,
because
and then
it
the
reminded
blue.
me of a traditional log cabin.
Yeah.
with the hearth fire
Yes.
inside.
Yeah, super duper cool. So there's, just a ton of variation that you can do. So I'm doing all red, white, and blue, and I'm doing different takes on it. I'm just using the fabrics that I have. And then when I run out of red, whites, and blue, I'll go buy more. So this is the New Jersey block. So this one is strip pieced. This one is paper pieced. And this one is kind of precision pieced is what I called it, because we have to do some marking to make sure that we get this X right. Okay, so this one is the New Jersey block. And this is one that I just came up with on my own because New Jersey is the crossroads of the revolution. So I wanted to show, the red coats are coming, and then the blue is the Union officers, the American,
Continental Army.
the revolutionists who were there. So you'll see that each one of them is a little bit different. We're not going to have the same style throughout. This is the 2x4, obviously 2x2, and 6x8. So you can see how they're going to kind of differentiate. Also, I want to note that the 2x4 can be a 4x2. All right. So that all can change around, and you can put it however you want, which brings me to the map. So if you've signed up, if you haven't signed up, sign up today, because if you don't sign up by the end of today, you'll have to pay for Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey.
So let's talk about logistics for a second.
Okay.
I've got a bunch of questions in there,
let's do it.
I have that sheet that
Okay, turn it back up to me. Oh, you got that. Okay, cool.
You want to start with that or no?
Sure. So to get information about it, if you go to the website, this is what it looks like. If you just go to crinkledreams.com, and then you'll see that you can make the quarter millennial, and there'll be a little sign up there that's easy enough to do. You'll see at the top there where he's marked with the circle is a quarter millennial quilt sew along. That's the button that you can push. And when you go there, then you end up at a page that will have all of the blocks. So right now there's no blocks that are listed because right now they're just free. You simply have to sign up for it. After the week is over that those blocks are released, then there'll be a minimal charge for each of those block patterns. Okay, so somebody can sign up for the quilt along they could sign up for it on Friday. And if they want to get the first three blocks, then they'll have to pay for those 3 blocks, which is just $1.95 a piece. And then the rest of the blocks will be free. So the sooner you sign up, the more free it is. So those of you who have signed up before tonight, then you will be able to get all of the blocks for free. All right. So you can get those on that list too. If you click on that button, you'll be able to find a lot of the resources that I use. So there's a link to like the Sew Tights ruler that I use all the time. I think there's a link for the stripology. There's links for the stiletto that I use, the roller. So all of those things will kind of show up in there a little bit at a time. And as I gather more tools along the way, those will be available so that they're easy to find. I do encourage you to go check out your local quilt shop, buy your tools and fabric there. Please support them too. But I wanted to make it easy if you didn't have somewhere close that you could get it, that you'd be able to find it easily.
Do they have to buy all these tools to be successful?
Do they have to buy all the tools? No, you do not. Not at all. I'm trying to make it so that you don't have to have special tools to do it. But if you have the special tools, or if you decide to get the special tools to make it easier, you learn along the way why it's useful. So, for instance, the block that we did last time, the Delaware block, I showed how to cut it out using just a regular ruler. We're going to do another paper piecing one this next week, which is a totally different style of paper piecing. And then I'll introduce the add a quarter ruler, which I absolutely love, but is not necessary. You don't have to do it. Use it for your project. So that is, this guy here. See if I can pull it out. So you might have bought this. See, this is the thing with quilters is we buy things and we're like, I don't know what I was supposed to do with that. So we just keep them in a drawer. This is the add a quarter plus ruler is what it is. And I recommend this one because it has a nice beveled edge up here. And I'll show you in the video how to do that. So in the videos, I'll show you how to make the block, and then I'll try to include some more information that can make your quilting overall a little bit more successful, how you can get better quarter inch seam allowances, what tools to use, how you can get things to turn out a little bit nicer sometimes, and also to cut yourself a little bit of slack. So I will definitely show you my imperfect blocks, because even though I've been quilting for, how old is my son? 30 some years now. It's, I still learn things and I still don't get them perfect every time, because that's how it is. So, all right. So that's the website. What other questions do we have?
Okay. So, we're going to hit this one right
We've got lots of
here.
questions. I can see there's lots of
Yes.
words over there.
Hi, my printer is broken. Will I be able to print out when I get a new printer?
Yes, Patty, no problem. So what you need to do is when you've signed up for it, you'll get a link. And that link is going to be your link for the next forever. So as long as you buy anything from Crinkle Dreams, any of my patterns or the Millennial Quilt, Quarter Millennial Quilt Along, all of those patterns will be in your digital library. And you'll get that link when you first sign up. Okay. It'll also be sent to you every week when I upload new patterns. I'll send out a link and say, hey, the pattern has been updated is what you'll get. And that means there are new patterns available for you to download. The key is that they will be taken down the next Wednesday night. So you'll have 7 days to download the pattern. So if your printer is broken, don't just leave it up in the cloud. Download that file, keep it in your own computer. And then when you get your printer fixed, you can print it out. Okay. That's really the key. So you have to download them every week to be able to get them. If you miss a week, you'll have to go back and buy the pattern. So make sure that you actually download it every single week, which reminds me too. So we have video tutorials. And when we first decided to do this, I thought we'll give everybody a pattern for a week and then we'll leave the tutorial up for a little bit longer so people have time to do that. And then we've had some requests and had some change of mind. And so the videos are going to be put up on YouTube. So you'll be able to see them both in your digital library, the Crinkle Dreams library, where they have been this last week, as well as over on YouTube. So when we take them down from that week, when we have last week, we have those 3 states, we'll take down those patterns and those videos, but you'll still be able to access the videos over on YouTube. And we have a special playlist for that says the Quarter Millennial Quilt Along.
It's not there yet.
Not yet.
It'll be active soon.
Tomorrow. It'll be active tomorrow. That's the goal. So those videos will be available. So like Patty, if you don't have your printer for a while and you need to make that in a month, or say you don't really want to tackle paper piecing yet because you're not comfortable with it, you can totally just save that pattern. And then in a month, you can come back and tackle it. Okay, there's no reason that you have to do them in the order that they're released. That's obviously how I will do them. But if one is too complicated, you can actually just hold on to it and tackle it later.
Can we talk about the runaway chuck ramp?
I don't remember what the conversation was about this.
Okay, so obviously...
Come over here so you can hear on the mic better.
So the first block is Delaware.
Yes.
It's foundation paper piecing.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't have a lot of experience with foundation paper piecing. So we kind of started you off in the deep end of the pool. I get it. There are a couple of options. I think you're going to become more familiar and more comfortable with foundation paper piecing as we go. Don't forget, Teresa has a whole 1 hour plus long video about foundation paper piecing on the YouTube channel. We're going to get you through there. But there are a couple of things that you can do. One, you can just know the finished size of the block and put a solid in for now.
Or put a fun little novelty print. Like there's a
print.
ton of Americana novelty prints, and you could absolutely just replace that block with a square of that novelty print. Yes.
And somewhere between now and the 4th of July, we are going to release basically what amounts to a quarter millennial quilt cheater cloth. Yeah. Which will be basically a yard of fabric. 50 by 50 is the finished size. So maybe it's 2 yards of fabric or a yard and a half of fabric. It'll basically be a panel with all of these quilt blocks that you could cut out with the seam allowance and cheat it in to your finished quilt. Yes. And the whole thing will be available at the end along the way. Thank you. That was the good nudge I needed. Oh yeah, right. That. But along the way, we'll be releasing cheater blocks is what we'll do. So as we do the blocks, we'll create cheater blocks and we'll have them printed, digitally printed. Then we'll sell those as an actual block. So you would get one that looks like the block. It'll look like my block, but you don't have to actually piece it. So if there is one that is too difficult, if there is a technique that you don't like at all of that sort of stuff, there's a way to work around it. So I don't want you to feel like you are forced to absolutely make the block that I tell you to make. Don't get stuck on the first block. Yeah. This is going to be a ton of fun. Yeah. And if you decide, you know what, I really don't like whatever that block is, you have something special about a state that you want to do. So I'm trying to think, like,
I don't know, Texas, if you decided you wanted to do, you know, an applique of a cowboy hat, for instance, you could totally do that instead of the block that I gave you. Like, it doesn't matter what you want to do for it. I just want you to be able to have a quilt at the end that represents the 50 quilt or 50 states. Can we go to the top down and I'll show the map? And we had started to talk about this and I want to explain a little bit. So in the files at Crinkle Dreams in your digital library, you'll have a bunch of different things, an introduction to it. You'll have a little JPEG that you can, a little image that you can share on social media if you want to. You'll get a map. And this is the original version of the map. And then I just redid it because we had a request to be able to put in what you were doing. So I've labeled mine where I wanted to put mine. But I know what these sizes are because the smallest one is going to be 2 by 2 and I can kind of go from there. And then I realized that that was expecting a lot out of you guys to know what these size blocks were. So I created a new one and this one will go up in the files today. So I need to get it so that these lines will show up a little bit darker for you. So I have to do a little bit of layout work to make that happen. But what that does is each one of these blocks are labeled with a size. So right now we have one 2 by 2 block. So in here, there are 2 places that block can go. So there is no specific placement of where does this block go. It goes where you want to go. We have 2 places for the Delaware block. So it could go here. It could go here. I think Rhode Island is the other one. And then we have like the 2 by 4 blocks. Like this one can go here, 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 or here so that it would go vertically. So it depends on what you want to do. And if you have directional fabric, this might be something I did. Let me see. Here's an oversized version of one of the blocks. And the words go this direction. And then I tried it also where the words go this direction. So if I wanted to put it in my quilt this way, I could put it this way. Or if I wanted to put it in my quilt this way, I could do it that. And it would still be right. So you can kind of think about that beforehand. I would actually recommend against using directional fabrics unless you can really control what you're doing. So like a square would be easier to do a directional fabric. But this will be in the files later today, and then you can start kind of filling out where you want them. So once you've decided that this is where you want it, you could write in the letters for the, the state abbreviation. So that'll be an easier way to keep track of it. There are 50 states based on the square mileage of each state. Then there's a flag up here. It's easier to see on this one. So there's a flag up here, and then there's a blank spot that you can use for a label, or you can put in the American territories. So that'll be up to you. I'm going to use mine for a label. So excuse me. And then one of the other things that we had, Angela, she is doing, and I think she posted it over on our Dream Team community, where she actually put in the state name and the area and when it joined the United States, and she used embroidery to put those on there. I think I'm going to go back and embroider the 2-state abbreviation or 2-letter abbreviations for each state on it. You can do whatever you want to label them or not label them at all. Maybe at the end you won't care which one's which. It'll just be a pretty quilt overall. It'll be a very fun. I think it'll be a really, diversity is the word that comes to mind. It's like very diverse. It's very scrappy. It'll be a very fun quilt to kind of almost like an I Spy, where you kind of have to look and be like, oh, where is blah, 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 which I think will be really fun. You
said the word scrappy. I'm going to throw a question up on the screen.
Okay.
How much total fabric will we need if we want to use all the same red, white, and blue?
I have no idea. I have no idea because I haven't pieced the entire thing as a quilt yet. To be honest, I've designed a bunch of it and I don't want it to be used with 3 colors. Like, that's not how I've designed the quilt. So if you wanted to, I would say probably a couple of yards of each would be a very safe amount. But it will depend on the quilt and the blocks and how you want to do them. So if you want to equal it out so that there's red and blue in every block, it's going to be a different sort of fabric quantity. It depends on which blocks you're going to make as your background. So because there is no defined, like, this is how you should make it. There is no defined yardage that you need to get. So I'm hoping that people will use the stuff that they have, buy some back quarters, buy charm squares. There'll be a lot of blocks that could use the little 5-inch squares. I have a really great, one that I bought a long time ago, and I think it was Riley Blake. It's called Stateside. And it's just a whole bunch of charm squares that are like Americana prints, little flag and the stars. And it's super duper cute. And I've had it for a long time. I'm going to try to get a little bit of fussy cutting out of these if I can figure out how to do it on states that I can see, because that's kind of fun. But the charm squares will work too. So all those different sizes of fabrics are going to come together. And yeah, so you could buy a couple of yards of each fabric, and then in the end you would have scraps, I'm sure, of something. It's only a 50 by 50 quilt, but there are a lot of seams in there. It's gonna be a lot of seams. Yeah, with 50 blocks, there's gonna be a lot of fabric behind it too.
Right, double. Yeah, all the seam allowances will act as batting.
Right, exactly. So there'll be some seam allowances for sure. All right, what else have we got?
Okay, let's see. I think you answered this, but we're gonna double down. I was wondering how to check if the pattern is correct size, especially paper pieced ones. I ended up enlarging the Delaware just to practice in a larger size.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay, so when the patterns come, they come on a piece of paper that you have to, where did I do with Delaware? There it is. Okay, so come down over the top again. Okay, so when you get the pattern pieces, I have created them so that they have the 1/4 inch seam allowance on them. So if you print them and then you measure from this edge to this edge and it's a 1/4 inch exactly, then it's the right size. Okay. If this is not quite a 1/4 inch, it means this whole image has been shrunk a little bit by your printer, which can totally happen. So make sure, I have to take a drink. All the talking. So make sure that you are printing at 100%, and then you can do a double check. So that's the easiest way of doing it. I will say Audrey is helping with the next ones, and they will have the tapered corners because she's good at the illustration work.
Show it.
Well, this is just the draft of it, but yeah, so the next one is looking more like this, which is just a different one. So this has the kind of beveled corners, which makes it a little easier to put together. So thank you, Audrey. Appreciate that. So that's going to be really cute. That's the that's one that's coming out this next week. I just saw it. Here it is. It's really cute. So it'll be New Hampshire, which I'm excited about. So yeah, that's the way to tell with that.
Is printing on newsprint tricky?
I haven't had any issue with it whatsoever. So
and you can get a whole ream of 8.5 by 11 newsprint that will run right into your, will fit right into your printer.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been a
come
problem.
up top again, if you don't mind. So printing on the newsprint is really easy. In most printers, I haven't had any issue with it. It's thin, but it's not so thin that it gets like crumpled up in the printer or anything. But it is a really good way to do your paper piecing because it's so much thinner. So a lot of people do want to do it just on their, I don't know what my problem is today, just on their printer paper. But the printer paper is actually thick enough that it will cause your stitches to be slightly loose when you pull the paper out. So because it's holding the threads above the fabric. So it's really much better if you use a newsprint kind of paper, or they do make specialty papers that you can get. There's one from C&T that is, I think it's called like Perfect Foundation or something like that, which is a fabulous foundation paper piecing product. I will say we did if you look at the YouTube tutorial that we did, it's another episode of Make where we talked about paper piecing for like an hour and a half. And we compare different papers and how it works, how they tear out, how they sew, all of that sort of stuff. And that paper was actually my favorite. It is also the most expensive. So there's those. So you can get a ream of the newsprint. You could get a pack of that foundation paper from C&T. Both of them will work. The one from C&T, you would use a fair amount of that. I think there's like 15 sheets or something like that. So you wouldn't be left with a whole ton. Whereas the newsprint, you'll have a lot extra because you have to buy it in thicker amounts. So, you know, as I often say, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Like it's really depends on what you want to do. Okay. But the printing on it is super easy. And that foundation paper from C&T, totally printable. I used vellum. I've used a bunch of different things too.
The freezer paper
method. Yeah.
All of that is on your FTP
on the
YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. So if you
tutorial.
watch that episode of Make, I go through the whole process of doing paper piecing on a very basic square to square block. So I'll show you how to do it. So if you're unfamiliar with it, that's the way to go, is watch that. There's a free download that you can get that has that square to square block that you can do. I also have a tutorial that shows you how to do that with freezer paper, which is a fun technique, but works really for simple blocks and not for things as complicated as Delaware.
Okay, put another question up on the
All right.
on the board.
Good.
What percentage of blocks do you estimate will be paper pieced? Let's talk some folks down off this ledge. What do you think?
75%. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, 10% would be 5.
Probably 10%, maybe a little bit more.
And again, we're going to build escape ramps for
Yes.
you. We get it.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to like every technique or love the way those look.
Yeah, because really one of my purposes in this project is to introduce you to techniques that you might not have wanted to try before because you didn't want to make a quilt that way. So a lot of times we don't start something because I don't want to make 26 paper piece 12-inch blocks, whatever it is. Like I don't want to do that. Or applique, you don't want to make the entire quilt out of applique. So there'll be a whole bunch of different techniques that we're going to use like that, like the strip piecing, precise piecing, paper piecing, reverse applique, raw edge applique, needle turn, like all of this different stuff. There'll be little blocks that use all of these. You can absolutely do it however you want to do it. You can use those escape routes of using a different fabric, buying the cheater blocks, creating your own block for it, whatever you'd like to do. There is no judgment on it, but what I'm hoping is that we can all kind of stretch our skills just a little bit by doing a small block. And like the Delaware, for instance, like it's not super terrible. It's not a terrible block, but there are a lot of pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 13 pieces in here. So it's a fair amount of little pieces, but it's so little that it's pretty quick to do. And if you mess it up, it's easy to do again. So I think that's a lot of people have done this, and so have I, is that you've made numerous ones to try to get to the end, the finish that you want, which is kind of what I want, because that practice, every time you do it, you learn a little bit more and your skills get a little better. You understand the process more. Paper piecing is one of those that once you get it, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, this is great. But the getting it is a little hard. And there's different techniques with, all these things. The Delaware block is completely different than New Hampshire, but they're both paper pieced. So I'm going to try to introduce you to some things that maybe you wouldn't have tried otherwise, but because they're in this big project, that you'll give them a shot. So that's my goal. All right, what else have we got?
Okay, again, with a paper piecing question. When you say paper pieced, is that stitched by hand?
No. We will probably have one that is an EPP. So that's English paper piecing, where you wrap the fabric around the paper. But that one does require specialty paper. So I will probably just have one and then offer a little kit where you can buy the papers for that block. That's my thought on that, because I'd like you to learn how to EPP, but it is, it's just a different thing. Yeah. And a lot of people don't really love hand sewing. And it has to be, well, it doesn't have to be all hand sewn, but it's usually all hand sewn. We'll talk about that when we get there. So yeah, there will be at least one block that has some English paper piecing, but I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. What do we got? Oh, yeah, this question has been asked a couple of times. Let's get it up there. The cheater cloth that we were talking about. Yeah. So is it going to be a big enough piece that you could use it for your backing? Probably not without a sash around it, because fabric is 44 wide and the quilt's going to finish at 50.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the quilt will finish at 50. We'll have to get it printed a large format. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I kind of like the idea of doing that. What if we printed it mirrored? So on the back, it looked like the back side of the quilt. Do you know what I mean? My brain. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to use. I have a fabric that I bought a couple of years ago that is kind of like this. I should have brought it in, but it's kind of like this, where it has like all the state names on it. And that's what I'm going to use for my backing. So there's lots of Americana stuff that's out there that you could use, but we will keep that in mind as we design the cheater, the whole cheater cloth, to see if we could actually do that, because that would be That'd be kind of fun. I like that idea. It's a good one.
There's a great conversation going on about the newsprint, the paper piecing fabric, and where to buy it.
Good.
I'm not going to reiterate a bunch of it.
Good.
Y'all in the comments
Read the
seem
comments.
like you have it handled. Thank you.
That's great. All right. What other questions are there any in there, Audrey, that need to be asked that you've got? Haven't been asked yet. I'm trying to remember all the things that I wanted to tell you guys.
I got a note.
Okay.
There we go.
I love the wooden quilt box behind you. Yes, thank you. It is a piece by Troy Murrah, and Murrah. And if you've been around in the quilting world long enough, you probably recognize that last name. His mother is Judy Murrah, who is was a very well-known quilting teacher, and she is actually the one who did all of the jacket jazz patterns in the 80s, which were the quilted coat patterns, quilted vest patterns, which sort of, sinks right into my quilt coat patterns that I've got. So I have a special love for it.
His company is Built Quilt.
Built Quilt is what it's called, Built Quilt. And they do a whole bunch of stuff, and he does it all in wood, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's repurposed wood. And then he has like coasters and all sorts of other things out of wood with quilty designs on them. Yeah, Built Quilt is the name of the company. I really love it. So thank you. It's a lovely piece, and I'm very glad I got it. I bought it at Road to California a few years ago. Yeah. What else have we got there?
Okay. Can you go over how to get the patterns when you're out of town?
Okay. So if you are out of town, you need to download the patterns each week, but you don't have to make them. So you can download them to your phone. You can put them in the files there. You can mail them to yourself, but they do need to be downloaded each week. If you miss one, you can just go back and purchase that pattern. Like I said, they'll be $1.95. So not cost prohibitive at all. At the end, we will offer all of the patterns as a whole pattern booklet. And that will include more like stories of the travels and pictures and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be a bigger, more than just a quilt pattern book, but that all will be available at the end. Along the way, you can purchase the ones that you miss, but do try to download them each week. So, and that is that link that you get, that is your first link, and it's every update email that you get from me. That link is going to be the same, and it's going to be where you get all your patterns. So make sure that you bookmark that pattern or that URL so that you can go back to it easily and refresh and get your new stuff, see what's there. As we go, I'll probably load stuff into the front end, like the map that has the measurements on it. I'll put that in there and then keep the other map in there as well. So there'll be more stuff that kind of gathers there too. Yeah. And I'll send updates.
Okay. Logistics question.
Okay.
Will we get a replay of this show?
Yes.
I just got here.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Kathy.
No problem. You'll find it on YouTube.
Absolutely. Yep. We always do that. So all of our lives are then recorded and put onto YouTube. The easiest way to find them is like at the top, it'll say like videos, da, 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 da. If you go to playlists or lives, you can find it. So it won't be listed under the normal videos. It'll be under lives. They don't let us make those come together, unfortunately.
All right, a couple of folks want to know if you could work your cuddle scraps into any of this.
I love that idea. I'm sure that you could. I haven't really thought about it, but we might have to just add in, some little side projects like the eagle from Funky Friends Factory or stuff and make those out of cuddle. So I'm sure that you could. There is some really fun. We just did the cuddle coat yesterday. There's a really fun polka dot. There's a red with white polka dot and a blue with white polka dot that would be fun to put in there. And that's the new quilting cuddle, which is actually pretty easy. I would use that in the larger blocks, not the tiny paper piece blocks.
We're not making Delaware out of quilting cuddle.
Probably not. Probably not. I'm not sure I would be even happy with that. And I love cuddle. So
I love this crossover question.
I had a couple of people ask me about this. So when we're finished, it's going to be a 50 by 50. So it will end up being larger than you need for the back of the quilt or back of the coat, but not big enough to cut out the other pieces. So what I would suggest is that you make a few blocks that are extra along the way. And then when you get to the end, you could put it together in a way that would create a piece that would be bigger than the back and create pieces that would be bigger than each front side, bigger than the sleeve, just bigger instead of like 50 inches. I think the widest size of the coat, I think, is about 36 inches, which means that then on either side, we've got, what is that, 14 inches of waste on either side. So if we take that quilt blocks and we put them into another one, we have a whole front. So trying to rearrange your quilt blocks so that they'll work for that, I think, is how you'll have to do it. I'm very curious to do it too. So I am making extra blocks, and that may end up being what I get to wear. Maybe for, quilt market this year or something.
Hi, Vicky from Scotland.
Vicky from Scotland, hi. It's really fun to see people who've been following for a long time. Sorry, was that a comment we were looking at?
Yeah, it was from Vicky.
Oh, it was Vicky. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Good. I'm so glad. It's very nice. All right. What does it say? Not using red, white, and blue. What does that one say?
There we go. I'll pop it up. There we go.
I picked a Ruby Star Fat Quarter Bundle. It's now too many prints. Never too many prints. If you want to like tone it down a little bit, you could use a more neutral background fabric, or you can just make it wild. Like if you've seen K Facet quilts, those things are all the prints and all the colors, and they are magnificent. So there is no right or wrong with this. Because the first blocks are small too, you can use your fabrics, try to get an idea of what you want. You could make the block in a couple of different ways and kind of just get a feel for it, and then decide what you want to do. I know we have one person who's participating, Natasha, and she is using Liberty fabrics. So she's using that, which I think is it's very special and will be a beautiful quilt in a completely different way. So Liberty of London is very fine cotton lawn fabrics, and they're beautiful. But it will not be, the red, white, and blue. It'll be something completely different made with Liberty, which I think is fun. So, all sorts of possibilities. I really love it.
By all means, the easy way. Back it and cuddle.
Back it and cuddle. Yes.
It'll be a nice little lap blanket.
Yeah, and you can use the regular Cuddle 3 because it's 60 inches wide and that quilt finishes at 50. So.
And if you wanted to make it bigger, you could add like a big border. You could basically treat this 50 by 50 as a panel, and then put other blocks around it if you wanted to make a throw or something. Yeah, you could. And one of the things that I have been playing with that I haven't been able to get to the time to design it on the computer is looking at doing sashing between it. So I like the idea that it's 50 by 50 because the 50 states thing, I think it's fun. It's also what I've done my American travels quilts in. So I have a small series of quilts that I've made about my travels, and those are all 50 by 50. So I kind of wanted to stick with that parameter, but I do think that you could probably add some sashing in there and make it a full bed size quilt. So I need to play with that a little bit. So we're not going to put any blocks together. That's kind of the nice thing, is we're not putting any blocks together until we get to the end, and then we're going to figure it out. So I really would suggest not trying to piece it as you go, but keeping them, which reminds me that I wanted to show. So I made a little bag. So this is kind of like the by Annie Peacekeeper bag, except that I just made it up as I went because I've made those before. And you can use vinyl for the front. And this allows you to put everything in one place and keep it nice and flat because it's got the soft and stable in there. It's fairly stable. So your blocks aren't going to have to get folded and then sit there for 3 months. So keeping those all nice and flat is really helpful. So that's what I'm using to keep mine in. I'm keeping all of my blocks and paperwork in there, which is really good. So she made that after we spent 2 hours looking for the block she just made in the studio. Because that never happens to anybody, right? Yeah. And I was like, I lost the little 2-inch block. Where is it? I was like, I need a place that I can just put everything. So that's what this is. It's where everything goes. I now need to find a way to store my scraps for it on my fat quarters because I like to dig through the fabric, and the way it's organized right now, I can't really do that. So I'm still figuring it out too. Good. That's really sweet. Yeah, there's some really fun reasons why people are doing it. We have one lady from Spain who's participating because she wants to learn more about America, which I think is lovely. All sorts of things. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all from Canada, I know you're in here. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thanks for playing.
We do. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Other questions there? Do we have anything else in the banners that I didn't answer?
Let's take a look.
Is it really free?
Let's do that.
Yes, it's really free. And I'm just going to reiterate this. It's free if you sign up by tonight for all of the blocks. If you sign up tomorrow or any day after January 7th, you'll be able to buy the past blocks, but it'll be free from there on. Okay. So hopefully that makes some sense. Is you'll get in, and the rest of the blocks will be free from whenever you sign up. But whatever blocks have been released before you sign up, those you'll have to purchase separately. Okay. And that will help mostly in the paperwork part of this, is that I can't keep track of everybody with over 1,000 people. It's way too many. So we'll do it that way, and that should work out just fine. So, and if you missed a block and you don't want to buy the pattern, then you can just make your own block and put it in there too. Like there's no hard and fast rules with this at all. I really want it to be a good, fun quilt making experience where we get to learn a lot of things. We get to, see each other's work and really kind of grow throughout this whole process and learn a little bit about the United States. And I get to tell you some of my stories, my travels, and I'm looking forward to that. Was something else I was going to say. What was it? Oh, shoot. I totally lost it. Okay.
I got another whole good conversation.
Okay, good.
Here we go. Where can I see other people's blocks?
That's what I was going to say. I knew it was something like that. So where can you see other people's blocks? Where can you have little discussions about it? So we have the Dream Team community, which is an online community, and there's really two parts of it. So there's a main Dream Team community, which we have a good number of members in, that has all sorts of stuff. So we do happy hours, we sew together, we release patterns in there, we have special events. There's much more, there's more tutorials in there. It's a much more close thing with me. And we have a lot of communication, I guess is what I'd say. There's another little part of it over here that is the Millennial Quilt, the Quarter Millennial Quilt Sew Along group. Like it's a little space in there. And it's a conversation. So that people are in there. I think we have over 100 people in there now. And you can share your blocks in there, chat about it, talk about what's hard. Let me know if there was a mistake that has happened. So having that group is really helpful. That is free to join. The whole Dream Team community costs $15 a month. If you join the Dream Team community, you also have access to the patterns and videos right in the Dream Team. So you don't actually have to access your library after that too, which is nice. So that's $15 a month. It's a freebie to join just the Quarter Millennial Quilt group. And I believe that you can get to either of them easily from dreamteam.crinkledreams.com. Or if you go to crinkledreams.com, there is a button up at the top that says Dream Team Community. And you can click on that and get more information. Yeah. Okay. Was that what I was supposed to say?
Yes, absolutely.
That's been really fun though, because people have posted their blocks, and I need to share some. I do have a Facebook group called Make with Teresa Coates that people have posted there. I'm happy to have you post in both those places, and that's just a lot more of other stuff, and it tends to be a lot of quilt coat stuff because that's what I teach classes with most of the time. So there's a lot of quilt coat cuddle there. The other group on the Dream Team is specifically for the quilt sew along. Yeah.
I agree with this. I think I think it's great that she has made it so easy to access, which brings up something. Mm-hmm. When she started this, talking about this idea like a week before Christmas, she was going to be really happy if there were 50 of you.
I was going to do it if there were 25, and my goal was 50.
We're at almost 1,200 signups right now. 1,200 of y'all.
That's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm really excited about it.
Thank you for the love and the support. Let's have some fun between now and the 4th of July.
Yeah. So if you are part of sewing groups on Facebook or whatever, if you post about it today, let them know that they have to sign up by the end of today to get the whole thing free. If they sign up tomorrow, then it starts costing a little bit of money. Very little bit of money, but it does start costing. So if you are part of Facebook groups, you can go ahead and share about it, put in the link for signing up. Maybe we'll get a few more people signed up before it changes slightly. And it really doesn't change anything for you. It just, there's back stuff. Are you going to have a live every week? Hi, Kathy. It's so good to see you. We will not do a live every week. We do have sew-alongs twice a month in the full Dream Team community. So the one that you have to pay for, we do two, we call it maker happy hours, and we spend a couple of hours sewing. We did that last night. I think we were here sewing for 2 or 2.5 hours. So that's where we'll do the lives, and I'll sew the block and we'll work on it together, which was great. We all made the Connecticut block last night, which was super fun. So that will be happening kind of behind the scenes in the Dream Team community. Yeah. So they are happening. They're just not, those are not free for all. Yeah. I have to pay my rent somehow. So that's.
There is some of that. Is that bag 16 by 16?
It is 17 by 17.
Which gives you enough room for the largest block, which finishes at 16 by 16.
And when it, like when you actually finish it, it'll be 16.5 by 16.5. So it'll slip in the bag at that size and still have a tiny bit of wiggle room so that nothing has to get folded. That was my thing, is I started looking for like a plastic box is kind of what I was thinking, like one of those art boxes. And I thought, well, I could probably find something like that that would be nice and hard, and I could put the blocks in there and then nothing would squish them and they wouldn't have to get folded. And I couldn't find anything that would fit larger than the 12 by 12 blocks. And I thought, you know, I know that the bigger blocks are coming near the end. I still don't want to have to fold them even for a month. I want them to lay flat. So I decided to just go with the Peacekeeper idea. That one is a free pattern from By Annie. So if you go to her website, byannie.com, you'll be able to find the pattern for the Peacekeeper and download that. You have to sign up for an account if you don't have one, but it is a really easy project. Yeah, I really like it.
There we go. I'm answering a question. I put the sign up on it as a ticker, and we're just going to leave it up pretty much for the rest of the show.
There you go. Yep.
And then we go back to comments.
Yeah.
I think we're really pretty caught up on questions.
Okay,
folks.
so shoot them out there if you have another question that we haven't answered yet.
Or if I missed it. If you asked once already, ask it again. Totally fine.
Yeah. And like I said, don't be afraid of using a whole bunch of different fabrics. I'm using primarily red, white, and blue. So if we can come to the top again, the top down camera, I'm going to show you. So I'm using primarily red, white, and blue, but I am using them in a whole bunch of different shades. So, and then I've got more fabrics here. These Hawk just picked up for me at the quilt shop yesterday. So we're just going to keep adding to that pile. I also have these. So these are out of my stash. I have a whole bunch more. And so I've bought some that are like novelty prints that are really fun, like the Route 66. Like these will be fun to fussy cut things, which I think will be great. But then there's others that are just very kind of generic and not very interesting.
Show the background one I bought you yesterday because you know,
for the flyover
states.
Now you know how much we paid for them. Thank you, Montevilla. Yeah, there's a little airplanes. It'll be really cute. So I love novelty fabrics and don't have a use for them most of the time. So I'll probably have more novelty fabrics than a lot of people. But along the way, along our trip, I found things like, this is like, you know, hardware stuff, little farm stuff, another like little truck and tractor. This is covered bridges, chicken feet, handkerchief, all sorts of different stuff. And so I will throw in some other colors. There'll be some yellow, some orange, some greens. I will throw in some other things because I want to.
And it's going to be scrappy, and it's going to be a little bit of a mystery, and everybody's going to have a great result at the end.
Yep, exactly. It'll be really good. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Come back up front if you don't mind.
There you go.
All right. So so that's the whole of it. If we haven't gotten any more questions that we have to do.
We do. I've got
let's
some.
do a couple more questions then.
Okay, here we go. I don't have many scraps, but would love to hear what fabric line you think would be fun, or even a few lines.
So there are quite a few lines that have been released recently because the fabric companies know that this will be a draw this year, is to do them. I really love this stateside one, but it doesn't have enough variety. I would recommend going to a quilt shop and then just kind of digging through their fat quarters, because the more variations you have, the better. Some of the companies, like I know, I think Andover has one. Moda has a lot of stuff that's red, white, and blue. And I think Kaufman is doing a special one. If you get like the big fat quarter tower, they're kind of expensive, but it's a lot of fabric. You'll end up with, and you know, a lot of it being from the same line, which might be exactly what you want, and that's the look that you want. And so that would be a way to do it. I do know that Moda has a ton, and they've done like red and white especially for a very long time, so adding in some blues would be super easy. Get some gingham, like there's all sorts of fun stuff. All right,
okay, so is there a Facebook group.
There is not a Facebook group for the Quarter Millennial Quilt. There is a Facebook group for Make with Teresa Coates, which is just a group to talk about sewing, my classes, quilt coats, all that good stuff. The Quarter Millennial Quilt group, excuse me, is over on the Dream Team. So dreamteam.crinkledreams.com. That's where you're going to find that. You'll want to bookmark that too. It's also easy to get from the Crinkle Dreams website. So if you just go to crinkledreams.com, then you'll see up at the top, there's a link for the Dream Team community, and you can get in there and you can choose which group you're going to be a part of. Okay. And if you have any issues with that, you can always email us. My email is on the patterns and everything like that.
Good. This is a question we haven't actually gotten much before. Do we have local meetups? We are local to Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
And we don't really have a public facing space, like our studio isn't public facing at this point.
Not yet.
It could be a thing.
So no, we don't have anything planned, but I think that would be super fun to do. And I know we have people from all over the country. With this many people, we probably have people from every state. So that might be something that we could try to figure out how to connect people, and that might be fun. So yeah, or just gather your friends. I know a lot of people are doing the quilt with their friends. So get together, have a little sit and sew. And we might do a few of these along the way. I have a very busy teaching January. But later in the year, we might do like once a month or once every other month where we have kind of an open sew where I come and we can sit and sew together. So
there are also 2 retreats.
Oh yeah, there are 2 retreats, and they are before the end. Thank you. I was going to mention that. I totally forgot. So we do have 2 retreats that are happening this year. We have one just north of us, the Pacific Northwest Makers Retreat, and that will be the end-ish of June. I think it's June 25th to 28th, if I have my dates right.
It's on our calendar.
Yeah. And it's also on the website. So if you go to the shop and you go down to retreats and workshops, that's where it's at. So we have one in Southwest Washington at a place called Flying Geese Retreat. That is a really lovely little spot. There are very few seats available. So if you're interested, sign up before too long. We also are doing one in May, second to last weekend in May, in Decorah, Iowa, at a retreat center that's run by one of my favorite quilt shops, Red Roxy. And so they have, I think they call it Red's House, which is a retreat center, which that one is more than half full, that retreat is. So yeah, get signed up if you want to come. And we will definitely be making a lot of blocks. So it'll be a fun catch-up time, I think, for some people too when they get there. And those retreats are always I do my retreats as an educational sort of thing. So we have guest educators come in and all that sort of stuff. So we can learn a whole bunch of new skills, which is really what I'm trying to do with this quilt too, is to expand our quilt making skills and lessen the fear.
So are you going to do tutorials on every block? That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That is 50 patterns, 50 videos, 3 or 2 a week.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot. It's a lot.
We're in this sprint with you.
Yes, we totally are.
Don't think that you're in this alone.
Yes.
We are also we're gonna have the same fun you are.
Right. And I feel like my backup plan, if something happens and we can't get the tutorial done, I will plan to do a live where we actually just live sew through it, and that will be the tutorial. So I hope to not do that. I'd rather do produced ones that are a little bit finer than when I have to sew on camera right there, all the messy ways. But if we need to, that's what we'll do. So there will be some sort of video along the way. We're doing a slightly different style this week than we did last week. So if you have participated in that, I will also send out a survey in a couple of weeks and ask you what you like about the tutorials and what you don't. So I can evolve that, and I can learn a little bit along the way to make tutorials that work better for you. So any ideas that you have like that, I love to hear things that you would like, things that make it a little bit easier, and yeah, ways that we can all grow with this.
Hey, let's just kind of recap. I'm gonna come around because I think we're basically wrapped up on questions.
Good.
I know she said this at the beginning. Teresa and I our relationship developed with us traveling all around the United States, meeting you all, getting to see quilt shops. I didn't know much about your world at all. And now I know that you are a community all across the United States that loves and supports each other. this is what we're going to do together. I'm really excited to see what you guys make. And I'm glad that you all still continue to love this country.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super happy to do it. And it's been a wonderful thing. And I think that I've said everywhere that I've gotten to go to teach, which I'm going to Santa Barbara tomorrow. So I travel to teach a lot, and everywhere that I go, it's just lovely because there's a community of quilters everywhere, and we can all talk about quilting in these really fun ways. So I'm looking forward to working with you more. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. Come join us over on the Dream Team in that community. And like I said, feel free to email me if you have questions. We'll work through them. And I think that's it. So be prepared. If you haven't signed up, go make sure and do it. And then be prepared, because tomorrow you'll get new ones for New Hampshire and Connecticut are tomorrow. So which are both, are they both teeny tiny? I think so. Now I can't remember. Yes, they're both teeny tiny, 2x4s. They're little bitty states. So, that's why we started with the small ones. They're small states. Blame them. All right. I think that's it.
Yeah, we're gonna roll out.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks for all of your questions. Happy sewing.